So when I first came up with the idea for this particular stock loadout, I thought it would rank fairly middle of the pack. However, I was really wrong. This is actually one of the best ones I have ever used. While I could see that it definitely doesn't look too intimidating on the surface, as you start seeing how all these perks on these weapons synergize, it gets really deadly. We'll start today's stock loadout video by talking about where to obtain each of these weapons. With the Ace of Spades exotic hand cannon, all you do is complete the Forsaken campaign, talk to Banshee 44, and then he gives you a quest where you complete it, you get Ace of Spades. For the Loaded Question Fusion Rifle, this is a Vanguard Pinnacle weapon, you talk to Commander Zavala and do the related Fusion Rifle quest. It'll just be a lot of strikes, a lot of Fusion Rifle kills, you can handle it. For the rocket launcher, you get this from the Leviathan raid. That's the first one. Also, it's worth mentioning that the sweeper bot R-Site 99 in the tower, or the one on the Nessus boat, I forget exactly what it's called. Anyway, the sweeper bot vendor can, on some weeks, sell the rocket launcher in exchange for tokens, which is pretty useful if your luck isn't the best. Now, moving on, we're going to talk about the perks of the weapons, and let me take a big breath here because Ace of Spades has every perk that's beneficial under the sun. So, it's got Firefly. You get a headshot kill and they explode. It also has a hidden perk, Outlaw. You get a headshot kill, it reloads faster. If you get a kill then reload, you get 6 Memento Mori bullets. These do extra damage. So it'll hit 90 to the head instead of the usual 70. Memento Mori can allow for a 1 headshot, 2 body shot kill, or even a 2 headshot kill if you have certain damage boosters like an Empowering Rift or the Striker Titan's Inertia Override or Frontal Assault. Of course, Memento Mori does come with a catch. If you switch weapons to either your power or energy weapon and switch back to the Ace of Spades, even if you pull out your Ghost, Memento Mori goes away. It wants to incentivize keeping the weapon out, which is probably going to happen anyway because Ace is so good. It has extremely high inherent range, so with Memento Mori, it's not crazy to 3-tap somebody like 45 meters out. Oh, I'm not finished talking about Ace of Spades perks, by the way. There's more. Let's get another breath here. And it's got Third Eye, so when you aim down sights, you retain the radar, and it's got high caliber rounds, so if you shoot somebody, they're looking at the ceiling. And that pretty much covers all the perks, but we'll come back to Ace of Spades with how it interacts with the subclass I chose, the Top Tree Night Stalker. What is it, Way of the Trapper? Yeah, that's the one. I'll come back to this later and talk about how it synergizes with Ace. But now we're going to talk about our energy weapon, the Loaded Question. Like the name of the weapon implies, its main perk is Reservoir Burst. If you collect green, you collect special ammo, and you fill the magazine all the way up to its maximum, which is 7. Then, on that 7th bullet, if you shoot somebody, it does a lot more damage, and if they die, it creates a Firefly-like explosion, which is very helpful for cleanup kills, or cleaning up with Ace, which then creates another explosion. The best part is, if you switch weapons, it also has auto-loading holster, so you don't even have to worry about reloading the fusion rifle, which means you can swap seamlessly between Ace of Spades to get Memento Mori, and then back to Loaded Question when it's on its 7th bullet reload. Pay attention to the play-by-play in the background. So this guy spawns up, gets evaporated by this fusion rifle. I switch back to Ace, get the auto-loading holster, switch back to the fusion, evaporate another guy. The explosion from Loaded Question gets the other guy weak, and I clean him up again with a 6-bullet kill of the Loaded Question. But I could have easily switched back to Ace of Spades and picked up free Memento Mori. But wait, it gets even better than that. Now we're going to talk about the power weapon, the Sins of the Past, which is, you know, a basic rocket launcher, but it does have auto-loading holster. So again, you can shoot the rocket launcher, get them weak, clean up with Ace, and then have the rocket reload on its own for when it's more useful. So now that you're familiar with these weapon perks, let's talk about how they synergize with the subclass perks. I'm using Way of the Trapper, Top Tree Night Stalker. One of the key features of the subclass is that, look at the top left, look at the radar, it's enhanced. Since the pieces of the pie on the radar are smaller, you can get better indications of where people are moving and how fast they're moving, which is super useful for a fusion rifle because you can pre-fire that much better. But also, let's not forget about Ace of Spades. It has Third Eye, so you get this enhanced radar even when you're aiming down sights, so nobody can really get the drop on you. But it gets even better than that, because now if you dodge, you go invisible. So where you'd normally be playing an anchor position, which means you're kind of behind your teammates with Ace of Spades, When you're invisible, that means you don't appear on your enemy's radar, so you can flank and pick off some easy kills to then activate Memento Mori. If you elect to use the Gambler's Dodge, this will refill your smoke grenade every time you dodge near an enemy. And this is super useful for slowing down your opponent and just making sure that you guarantee get the Ace of Spades cleanup. So when things are going right with this build, you should be expecting to pick up Memento Mori, that leads to more kills, which leads to more special ammo, which then powers up Loaded Question, which now that turns into your main hand weapon. Use it to get long range kills, and if you don't, you clean up with Ace and get Memento Mori again. The exotic armor that I decided to use in this video is the 6 Coyote, at least I hope that's the name. It gives you 2 dodges, so that's twice the opportunities to go invisible, or that means for pretty much every engagement, you can guarantee that you're going to be invisible, which makes it so that you're probably going to have first shot. Combine that with the high caliber rounds of Ace of Spades, and you're pretty much guaranteed to win every hand cannon duel. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that this loadout really impressed me. I thought it was going to be middle of the pack, and it ended up being one of the best. I would actually like to say that if Last Word Sniper is the best loadout for a sniper, and Chaperone, Kindled Orchid, or Not Forgotten is the best shotgun loadout, then this has got to be the best fusion rifle loadout. Of course, when you only consider stock loadouts, I'm aware that there are certain God roll shotguns, God roll snipers, and God roll fusion rifles that exist, but unfortunately, you cannot guarantee any of those like you can guarantee the perks of any of the weapons featured in the stock loadout series. And on that note, that pretty much wraps up the video, so my friends, as usual, thank you so much for checking out this channel. You might have noticed that this video didn't go up at exactly 9 AM Eastern. That's my fault. I take the total blame on that, and it was just because the previous night I had stayed up. I'm working on the music for a Destiny web series I'm doing right now. I figured that that's the best way to go about, you know, copyright laws with music and that sort of thing. It's just to make the music yourself. So as you can imagine, that process of making your own music isn't a walk in the park. I don't have the best instruments, so I pretty much just have to come up with, you know, something on like the Ableton software with a MIDI keyboard, my own guitar, that sort of thing, come up with the like sound I want, and then find musicians on maybe like Fiverr or musicians that I know to play the piece, and then have myself later put it all together. It's a lot of moving parts, so if I miss an upload here or there, that's probably why. I really want to get this series off the ground, and the most important aspect of the series to me is going to be nailing the intro. If you're curious about what the web series is going to entail, it's pretty much just going to be exaggerated versions of me and my friends experiencing the tropes of Destiny. And what is a trope of Destiny? Well, a recent one that's, you know, been making its rounds in the community is the idea of a dad loadout, with the poster child of this loadout, of course, being Blast Furnace and a Jotun. I feel that you can poke a lot of fun at that concept and turn it into a pretty entertaining series. Another trope is going to be maybe like the LFG experience. You know, you get the guy eating chips on the mic, the guy that has to go after 15 minutes, the guy who apparently knows how to do the raid but knows almost nothing about it. Oh, here's an even better one. This is from a recent video of mine, so think of the trope, the common plot device, being the cheater with a god complex. Like, that one is just asking for an episode on it. Just imagine me and the boys loading up a competitive match, and we run into somebody firing a pulse rifle at speeds that just cannot be comprehended. It's too fast. He gives us the whole monologue on why he's a god and he's controlling us, you know, the no dominance leads to no control. And then at some point he's just like, "No, Mom, I didn't use your credit card for V-Bucks." Where was I, guys? Oh yes. No dominance leads to no control. You will reel back in power from my pulse rifle and what the Legion offers. Anyhow, I mentioned the web series at the end of the video, not because I want to stretch it to 10 minutes, but mostly because if you're somebody out there who plays an instrument pretty well, think you're traditional drums, bass, guitar, maybe keyboard, let me know in the comment section if you're willing to help me make a bomb, a banger of a opening track.